Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done a video. I've been upgrading my network, switching a couple things over to fiber, and then otherwise, just been busy planning out a couple more videos and then just in real life stuff. So today's episode is about remote clients. And what I mean by that is in all of the videos up until now, and probably if you've been following them, how you've been managing, your virtual machines up until now, if you've been, following the Windows path that I've been training, is RDP. Now, RDP, our friend here, RDP, is a pretty decent tool when you want to remote connect to a Windows or another compatible client. But it's messy, it's tiresome. If you have a lot of virtual machines or you're trying to manage a fleet of computers, you're going to run into issues if you're trying to connect to them one by one, right? And another way that you may have been doing it or putting up with it in this case is double-clicking and opening sessions from Hyper-V on the host machine. So then you wind up with this, right? At the bottom here, we have this one workstation that I'm currently doing updates on, and then another workstation that I'm currently doing updates on. And they're two different windows that are two different operating systems that are inside Hyper-V. We can even double click on the router and open a session that way. And what we're running into is that also becomes unmanageable, right? Then you just have a million different windows. So one of the things that I wanted to cover quick in today's episode, and it's a relatively short one, is remote access, right? So remote access generally encompasses a couple of different things. And the three biggest are generally, are you looking to get video? Is it a terminal session? And how are you managing the credentials, right? So what I mean by that is there are a couple different protocols that we can use to get video desktop. A lot of these are VNC, RDP, etc. And then others for terminal, things like SSH, Telnet, along those lines. And these are different protocols that give you two totally different experiences. Either it's command line based or it's, GUI based where you're looking at the desktop. So I actually use one to manage a lot of my, current internal infrastructure, as well as, what I use for the business that I work at. Now, the important thing to understand here is that there are a lot of different ones to choose from, but like banks, they all pretty much in this day and age offer the same thing. It's going to come down to usability of their actual program or software and whether or not you really like it. There are a couple of different ones. I'm going to name off a few, and I'll link them below in the description so that you can check them out yourself. I'm not going to go into each in detail, but I will briefly outline what a lot of these softwares use. So without in no specific order, we have like MOBA Xterm, RDM or Remote Desktop Manager, iTerm 2, which is like a multi like terminal kind of, mRemote NG, Royal TS, and VNC. Now, VNC, I don't believe has a all-in-one solution. I think it's a lot like RDP. I could be wrong, but I haven't used VNC in a long time. And of course, VNC comes in a lot of different flavors, like Real VNC, Tight VNC. You're kind of getting it. I do know that Real VNC remembers connections and has like a single window, and they have like squares of machines that you've connected to in the past and or you've saved. But let's get to the meat of it. Let's get to things that you're going to want to understand or that you're going to want to probably look for in your software. So Today's software, like I said, out of all of ones that I've listed, again, that'll link below, there are a couple things that you're going to want to tackle all at once. You're going to want to be able to have one that supports any kind of terminal sessions or CLI sessions, be that Telnet or SSH. You're going to want one that supports any kind of GUI interface, be that, VNC, RDP, or otherwise. And then lastly, you're going to want credential management. Everything on top of those three things is, an added bonus. So just as an example, and I'm going to pull it over here, I personally use RoyalTS. And RoyalTS also has a Mac version called RoyalTS X. Now, some of these softwares do and do not support multiple platforms, but a lot of them do. And I just want to show you briefly what I'm talking about here. So if I drag this over, we're going to go ahead and open it up here. You can see on the left, I have different machines, and I can break them into like categories. So, I have our website, team.exe. I have, the internal LAN addresses of my servers, and then I have it broken into subfolders. So I have routers, and then I can SSH into these. I have my switches, and then I have my Internet of Things or IoT devices. So things like my NAS or my UniFi controller. And furthermore, I have the credentials that I save for them. So I have credentials stored that I can tie to these machines so that all I need to do is double click on them. And I'm going to show you what I mean here. What we're going to do is our lab host here, which is the one that you're used to. I actually have it open in an RDP session. I'm going to go ahead and close this RDP session, and we're just going to connect to it. And as you can see, it logs us right into what we were at before in RDP. So we have Hyper-V open, all of that's the same, except for that I didn't need to type anything in. I didn't need to type in an IP address. I didn't need to type in a username or a password. I just double clicked on it. More to the point is that it's tab based. So now what I can do is I can go over here and go to my primary host. So I'll double click on that, and then I get my host, my main server, the one that runs all of my internal infrastructure. Now you guys haven't seen this server, I don't think, because I don't use this as a lab. So it has nothing to do with a lot of our videos. But I did want to show you, that it is tab based. And then you can hit dashboard and see all of like your live connections and things like that. Even further, we can dive into things like Pi-hole, right? My Pi-hole does my internal DNS filtering, so we can dive right into that. And I just want to show you that really quick because this particular server, apparently I haven't updated the credentials for that. So what we'll actually do is we'll just dive into my web server. That'll be fine. We can, as you can see, we have two different types of connections here. We have RDP for, my primary servers, and then we're using SSH for my web server, which runs on FreeBSD. So that's Unix. And then even further, we have my Mac server, which we're going to connect to here. And my Mac server is actually based on VNC. So I'm mix and matching protocols and connection types all within the same software, and all of it is tab based. And all of it I can save credentials for so that I can automatically log in. Now, a lot of them offer this kind of usability. So like I said before, like banks, they all offer pretty much like the same thing. It's all about, the interface and how you like it, etc. And one of the things that I love about, RoyalTS is that, it's encrypted, right? So all of this, all the credentials and connection types and the listings, all saves into a configuration file, and that configuration file is encrypted. So every time I open RoyalTS, it asks me for the password to decrypt that file, so then I can access all of my things. Furthermore, of course, some of these softwares, I know RoyalTS I believe RDM also does it. They allow you to connect various, they're one piece of software and like an ecosystem of software that company makes. So Royal TS also has, a connection server, like a gateway server, where you can share like credentials with like other users and things like that. Now, I don't get complicated and get into any of that kind of thing, but it might be beneficial if you're looking into this kind of stuff for like a company, or at your current company, or you want to use it internally with the things that you have going on inside of your LAN, etc. But this is like super useful stuff. So again, I'll leave in the description the links to this various software, and I super encourage you to check it out, because a lot of this is going to help you. When you're doing maintenance on any of these, or you have a lot of different pieces of software that you're looking to, or a lot of different servers that you're looking to manage and control. You're going to want, a piece of software that can manage all of those for you fluidly, without you needing to do a lot as far as, different windows and things like that. It'll make it much cleaner. It'll be much faster to do what you need to do, and everything will be in one place, so you won't need to like try and remember all your passwords and things like that. And again, like I said, on top of it all, it's encrypted, so you won't run into too many problems, as far as, security concerns and things like that. So I'm going to leave this video there, and definitely check out some of those software and install them, test them out, take a look. It's really, it's not like it's making any modifications to your server. There isn't a client that you need to install on your server, or an agent, so you don't even need to modify the endpoints. You just need to make sure that they accept connections from those different protocols like VNC, RDP, etc. And you'll be off to the races. I hope you found this useful. Again, definitely check it out. And, come back soon, and I should have another video up. I think we're starting the domain series next, so that would be pretty exciting. Have a good one.